Well, folks, the conditions for deflation are here. And, well, now we have a really fascinating new piece on supply chain gluts. We also have a piece from the Wall Street Journal on equity risk premia, which is very, very bearish, but I'm going to provide a counter argument to it. I'm going to provide both pieces of information in this segment. Remember, April 12th is CPI day. Mark your calendar for that. Tomorrow is Jobs Friday. That is April 7th. Mark your calendar for that. And mark your calendar for prices going up on the courses on building your wealth for April 12th. With that said, let's jump into this piece right here. It's a phenomenal piece by, yes, CNBC. Now, I rarely have CNBC pieces on the channel, but this one was just too good not to be featured here. It says, inflation's inventory gluts are here to stay and will hit bottom lines in the weaker economy. Bloated warehouse inventories and an expensive pressure eating away at the bottom line of many companies. And for many, the excess supply and associated costs of storage will not abate this year. In other words, companies are going to take it in the margin. But wait a minute, if the excess costs of storage are still going up, isn't that inflationary? Not necessarily. Listen in. Just over 36% of companies that were surveyed by CNBC's supply chain survey said they expect inventories to return to normal in the second half of this year, with an equal percent expecting supply gluts until 2024. Supply gluts, my friends, supply gluts are deflationary. Yeah. But that deflation occurs with a lag, and I'm going to explain that lag right after a message from our sponsor. And that lag is very important to pay attention to, so buckle up.
Many of you like to know, where does Kevin read his news? And I personally love the Financial Times. I get the paper edition of the Financial Times. I read them online and on my iPad, but not only that, check this out. This is the Financial Times FT Edit app, and they have paid to promote this app in my video today. So thank you to the award-winning journalists at the Financial Times and the team at the Financial Times. I think this app is a phenomenal product. You can get 30 days totally for free by using the link down below. And here's how it works. They basically give you 8 of the day's top stories, and they sort them by date. So if I want to know about Tesla's resale values on Tuesday, March 28th, I can do that, and the story stays there, which is great, because one of the reasons I like the paper is because the stories don't change on that day. Whereas on the regular website, it feels like the stories are always changing and I'm missing stuff, right? The cool thing though is, let's say I missed yesterday's Financial Times edit. Watch this. I could just go to Monday, March 27th, boom, click on the 27th, and what happens? I could read about big tech facing a reckoning over a teen health crisis. Or who's this Alvin Bragg guy? Or maybe I want to learn about Jay and Janet and how even though Jerome Powell is supposed to be politically independent from politics and the Biden administration, he has to align with Janet Yellen via pressure, but she has to align with Joe Biden. Now, that's just an example of information that I learned directly from the FT Edit app, that even though Jerome Powell is supposed to be independent, he has to politically align with the political party that's in control to send the same message on financial stability. So, in my opinion, the FT Edit app is a fantastic way to simplify the way that you get news. And if you don't have enough time to read all the stories, just bookmark the story. So click the link in the description, link down below, receive a 30-day trial via the Apple App Store, iOS, and iPad. Terms and conditions apply.
21% now say a return to normal can occur in the first half of the year, and another 15% expect normal activity by 2024. But uncertainty about inventory management is significant, with almost a quarter of supply chain managers saying they're not sure when gluts will be worked off. Remember, excess inventory equals lower prices. Supply up, price down. Simple. Quote, "We don't expect significant decreases in inventory levels within our network in 2023, says Paul Harris, the Vice President of Operations for Warehouse. Quote, "Several of our manufacturing clients are experiencing dead/bloated inventory challenges due to over-ordering in the container gridlock from prior quarters. A majority have elected to keep inventory on hand as opposed to liquidating. Now, that is fair, but eventually When storage price, and this is the 4D chess part you have to think about, okay? So think about it. So far, over the last maybe year or so, inventories have been rising. At the same time as inventories go up, companies are like, well, we don't have to discount just yet. Let's increase inventories. So in other words, inventories go up, warehousing goes up is the other thing that goes up, right? So we hoard more inventory as supply chains smooth out. Now we fill up the silos. Think about it like having a farm, okay? You're a farmer and you're farming corn, and you just went from not having enough corn to having way too much corn. Now you have way too much corn, and you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to dump it on the market. I'm not going to reduce prices yet. What am I going to do instead? I am going to fill up my silos. I'm going to take my corn. I'm going to fill up my silos. And when I fill up my silos, when the price of corn is more desirable, I will slowly trickle it out into the market. That is why we have silos for corn and for nuclear weapons. But this video is about corn and prices, not nukes. Anyway, what happens when the silo fills up? Well, you have a choice. Do you want to build a new expensive silo or just start liquidating? It is a cycle. You have to think about this as a buffer system. Kind of like okay, nobody's going to get this reference except for the contractors, but we have those new pressure valves on laundry machines now in new construction. Basically, it's kind of like you put a little buffer in. So if you get too much water pressure coming into your water system, rather than getting a water hammer, like when you turn on the water valve and you hear the bum, 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 bum against the wall, you have a little buffer. It fills up with water and then it buffers. And then as the water pressure falls again, it can flow again, right? Let's draw that into more of a supply chain English here. But, I got to respect the contractors as well. So I had to use a contractor analysis. I don't know. The plumbers are probably shaking their heads right now, but I tried, okay? Anyway, so here you are. You are an outstanding farmer. You know why you're outstanding? Because you're outstanding in your field. Like literally. Okay, I screwed up the joke. Whatever. Why is the farmer outstanding? Well, he's out in his field. I don't know. Never mind. So you got a lot of corn, and now you have these silos. Okay, you have a lot more corn than you usually have. You fill up your silo. You're like, I'm not going to lower prices. Oh. What do I do now that the silo's full? Well, I could build more, or I could just dump onto the market. So in other words, you're going to sell. You're probably going to sell because it's going to take time for you to build up these silos. So what does this mean, folks? In English, what does it mean? It means there is a lag. It means that deflation lags, okay? And when we are hearing that prices for warehouses are going up, it means that the cost of storage is going up because the silo is full. When the silo is full, you have a choice. Build more warehouses, but prices are still expensive, so instead you sell. That selling happens with a lag, okay? That, in American English, means price gonna go down soon, folks. We're gonna see some deflation. Okay, it's a good thing. When do you expect inventory levels to return to normal? Well, here you have a chart. Yay. It looks like about 50% of people, actually, oh my gosh, look at this. 64% of people say it's either going to happen in 2024, 2025, or they have no freaking clue. Okay? 64% of this pie has no freaking clue, or it's going to happen in 2024 or later. In other words, that deflation's coming, boys and girls. A total of 90 logistics firm managers representing the American Apparel and Footwear Association, ITS Logistics Warehouse Quote, and the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals participated in a survey between March 3rd and March 21st. Oh, during the banking crisis. How fantastic. To provide information on their current inventories and the biggest inflationary pressures they are facing. Okay, so what are the biggest inflationary pressures? Which, yes, they have been passing on to the consumers, but are no longer able to. That is limited now. We cannot raise prices anymore. That's why companies take it in the margin now. They used to pass it on to consumers. They used to. What's sitting in warehouses and what companies are doing about it. Logistics experts tell CNBC that 20% of their excess savings sitting in warehouses are not seasonable, whatever. Slightly more than half of survey participants said they would keep items in warehouses. Yeah, but what happens when those warehouses are full? Prices of warehousing is going to go up. But a little over a quarter said they are selling on the secondary market because inventories impact the company's bottom line through elevated storage prices. Ding, 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 ding. Thank you. Somebody just donated $1.99 to say release the poverty chat. And why are there so many blue people? So blue people are course members that I've basically given free chat access to by turning them into mods. And if you don't have that access yet, I could do that for you. Just tag me. And actually, well, you know what? Wait for the next wave. We do that. We'll do another round of that, maybe in the course member live to ask me today. But yeah, a lot of the blue folks are course members, which you could join as well. Link down below. Harris told CNBC many clients with perishable goods are selling them on the secondary market to avoid destroying products. You have to remember, you can't always just hodl inventory. That's very important. You can't only hodl inventory. The reason you can't only hodl inventory is because eventually inventory goes to crap. It decays. People steal it or it decays. See, if the secondary market is not an option, they have to destroy the product. If it's a consumable, they're donating the goods and taking tax deductions, or they should sell it at a loss and basically lower prices. Investors are worried about earnings and margin trends and expect Wall Street to revise lower. Duh. Supply chain pressures and high inventory and high costs of carrying inventory will hurt margins. Duh. Almost half said the biggest inflationary pressures they are paying are warehouse costs. Warehouse costs? Look at that. Well, guess how you can lower your warehouse costs? Lower your prices. Duh. Now, ITS Logistics told CNBC that many clients across the industry have been using ocean containers, rail containers, and 30 or 53-foot trailers for storage because distribution centers are full. These charges will start materializing in Q3, Q4 results. In other words, the companies are going to take it in the margin. May as well sell your product. Okay, basically, more and more of this. Approximately what percentage of your increased costs are you passing on to customers? Well, you can see here, about half of the pie says less than 30%. And about 74% says less than 50% is being passed on to customers. That means most companies are taking it in the margin. Very few companies are able to pass it all on to consumers. These are your pricing power companies. Only 20% of companies are saying they're able to pass on 90% to 100% of the cost to their customers. Those are PP companies, companies with massive PP. If you want to know what companies I like with massive PP, you can learn about my ETF by going to meetkevin.com. You can also see my affiliates and all the other good stuff there. Now, I'd like to do a very brief look into what's going on with Wall Street and what equity risk premia are saying. So, equity risk premia, according to Wall Street, are something we're going to be able to analyze right. Let's see here. Here, I push this button. I push this button. I push this button to remind you about metkevin.com/StreamYard. So, the Wall Street Journal ran a piece this morning suggesting that stocks have not looked this unattractive since 2007. Basically, what they're doing is they're looking at the earnings yield for the S&P 500 versus the 10-year Treasury, sitting at around 1.59 percentage points, a low not seen since October of 2007. Now, that sounds really scary. When I first read this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Like, that is a huge red flag, right? But then I got to thinking about it. And then I put my thinking cap on and I put my logic together. And you want to see what my logic said? My logic said the first thing. First thing my logic said is the S&P 500 is trash. Why is the S&P 500 trash? Because it has a ton of top 50 companies that lack pricing power. As a result, those companies, I expect, are going to take it in the margin, like Costco this morning. Okay, they're going to take it in the margin, and they're going to suck at earnings. So, of course, forward EPS looks bad for the S&P, and of course, the S&P looks highly valued. That's why I like pricing power stocks. Number two, of course, Treasury yields are high now because inflation is expected to be high now and lower soon. And when it's lower soon, yields will plummet. Just this morning, Bloomberg Intelligence put out a piece, and they suggested that the SOFR, the Secure Overnight Funding Rate, will probably, the market expects it'll go below 3% in 2024. Bloomberg Intelligence thinks it'll actually go to 2% by 2024. In other words, rapid cuts coming once disinflation is proven. So that's my thesis. Obviously, that's where I put my head. That's how I counter. But I mean, this is a bearish piece. If you want a bearish piece, here you go. Here's the chart. Bears, rejoice, enjoy. In the meantime, I am going to go talk about my PP, which you, again, can learn more about, along with all my affiliate links by going to meetkevin.com and the courses on building your wealth. Get lifetime access to those. I'm going to the course member live stream now, so I will be enjoying a conversation with course members. As much as I love you all, I must leave now. Thank you very much for being here. I love you, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye, and use buy now, pay later for the programs below. Now, let's try a Halo impression. Gain the lead. Game over.